the answers for the first laboratory introduction to SPSS. So first thing I need to do is open my database. So what I'm going to do, actually, sorry, I don't want to do it that way. I'm just going to open the file directly. So to do this, I'm going to let it indicate that I can also grab Excel files, and I'm going to just grab the file that is saved onto my desktop here. So I'm importing the Excel file directly. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to open. I click OK through here. I can close this. Oops. Do not want to save. All right, so as we can see here, I do have ID, gender, year, program, test 1 and 2, motivation 1, 2, 3, and 4, corresponding to what was measured here. When I look at the variable view, I can see that gender and program have string variables. However, I need them to be numeric, okay? So first thing I need to do is actually recode that into a new one, because if I just switch this here to numeric, SPSS is now going to be expecting numbers, and since those were letters, it actually just deletes it. So I need to actually undo that and do it a different way. So first thing I'm going to do is go to recode into different variable, and I'm going to grab gender. I'm going to give it a new name, and I'm just going to call this gender numeric. I add it. Old and new values. So M, I'm going to give a 0. F, I'm going to give a 1, and prefer not disclose is going to be a 2. So I add those, click continue, click OK. I can close this window, and now I can see that my new variable is created, but it just has these codes. So once I go back into the data view, the next thing I'm going to do is go here to values, and I'm going to tell it that 0 is men, 1 is women, and 3, or I guess actually we were using male and female, and then 2 is prefer not to disclose. All right, so now if I go back to this and I kind of toggle between this option here, I can see the difference between my codes and the numbers. All right, I had the same issue for program. So the next thing I need to do, I'm going to reset this, and this time I'm going to grab program, and I will also call this one program numeric, and you can name it anything you want. And this time I'm going to do spec is equal to 1. So it's important that this is matching the exact way it appears in the original variable. So if it has a capital S, it needs to have a capital S, etc. Sorry, we'll call this 0, and then we will call minor a 1 and major a 2. Okay, so again, this is case sensitive. So I click old and new, everything's set up here. I click OK. And again, I have my new, oops, I accidentally do not want to save that. And I have this old and new variable. So same thing, I'm going to go here to values, and I'm going to say 0 is spec, 1 is minor, 2 is major. Okay, and now I can go double check here, and we see the same thing. All right, so dealt with that. So the next issue is I need to make sure that these are in the right thing. So ID is, even though it's a number, it is more of a nominal variable, since we are not actually going to use anything. Age is definitely scale, gender, nominal, year is their current year of study at the University of Ottawa. So we would actually call that one ordinal. You can say it's ordinal or scale. So I'll just put it as ordinal because it doesn't, that one in that case, you could put it either way. Program is nominal. Test 1 and 2 are scale. And then this is actually Likert scale, so we could actually switch these all to scale as well. And to here. And then the 2 new variables we made are also nominal. So the next thing we need to do, so please enter this specified level assigned value labels as required. Okay, so next we need to look and see if we have any missing data. So there were a few missing data spots. I'll show you another week how to find these better. They're more easily, but for now you can just scroll through and look, and anyone sorry, so I'm going to just give it a code of 999. I think there was a few other ones. Oh, there's one here. 999. Sorry, I don't know why my computer is being so slow. There we go. And there was one other one. Oh, up here, motivation. All right, so now I just need to go back and make sure that SPSS knows that those are all missing. So the easiest is just to do that for basically every variable. And we'll do this here. Oops. And last one. Okay, so next thing we need to do is, so we've done that, assign missing values, is that one of the motivation measures needs to be recoded. So as you can see here, this is a Likert type question where participants responded to 4 questions about their motivation using this scale of 1 to 5, where it went from 1 completely disagree to 5 completely agree. So since for 3 of these items, a 5 means that the person is motivated, whereas for one of them, a 5 means that they're not, we have to flip the one that is different. So this one here, I do not know why I'm doing this. I hate statistics. We need to recode the variable so that 5 equals 1, 2 equals 4, 3 stays the same, 4 equals 2, and 1 equals 5. Okay, so that's exactly what it says to do here. So we know it's motivation 2. So this time again, I'm going to go into transform, recode into a different variable. I'm going to reset this. It's a good habit to always just reset it so it doesn't have any of the other things we put in there. So I'm going to call this one mote2r for recoded. And then here I set that 5 in the old variable is now a 1 in the new variable, 4 is a 2, 3 stays the same, 2 is a 4, and a 1 is a 5. So we add that, click continue, and click OK. It opens this again, but we're just going to double check, and we can see here that there 2 is now 4, 2, 4, 1, 5. All right, we're good. Okay, so the next question is we want to create a total test score representing the participant's score on 20. So to do that, we need to add up test 1 with test 2. So there's 2 options to do this. Both of them are in compute. So we'll call this one test total, I'll just say basic. So what we do is you can literally just put test 1 plus test 2. Okay, so that way. Click OK. Click no. And what I can see here is that I have, so I have my new score where we've added them together. But I do have this one missing variable here. And the reason for that is because this participant is missing a score on test 1. So in the real world, if you were a student in class and you missed a test, it wouldn't automatically mean you have a 0 on total. You would just have only what you scored on that first test. So, or second test in this case. So in order to make sure SPSS carries that forward, the actual easier way to do this is you can enter that manually, but you can actually do it with a function. So if you just add function here, and instead of doing test 1 plus test 2 equal, you can do sum, open bracket, test 1, test 2, close bracket. And that's going to actually carry it forward. If you're looking for it in here, you do all, and then look for sum, which is going to be right here. If you double click it, it automatically carries that over, and you just replace the question marks with the variable names that you want. And if you want to add more, you could, but they have to correspond to actual variables you have. So this time I click OK. And basically it's going to make the exact same variable, except that this time I can see that it carried forward that one participant's score. So this is important. Okay, next thing we need to do is make a new variable that represents whether students are currently passing or failing the course using a 50% cutoff. So I'm going to take my new test score here, and I need to recode this into a different variable to represent pass-fail. So again, I'm going to reset this, and I'm going to take test total, the one with the function, so it has the missing person. And I'm just going to call this pass-fail and change this, and then click all the new values. And this time we want a range. So anyone with a score between 1 and 9 is failing the course, so we'll call them 0. And anyone between 10 and 20 is passing the course, so we'll call them 1. So we've got these two ranges. We click OK. And basically we now have our new variable with 1s and 0s. But again, to make that actually show up as pass-fail, we double click, go over here to values, and we say 0 is fail, 1 is pass. Click OK. And now go back to variable view, and now this time we can see that most people are actually passing the course. All right, and then the last step is we need to create a total motivation composite score. So this is also known as a group variable or a mean score for the participants' motivation statistics. So essentially, again, we go back to the calculator, compute a variable, let's reset it. So this time we need the average score of the motivation variables. But keep in mind, you have to use the new motivation that we created that represents the flip score. So it would look like this: mote1, comma, mote2 underscore r, mote3, mote4, and we'll call this motivation mean. So this is going to represent their motivation variable across those 4. So click OK, click no, and now we have that mean score. So since the scale is between 1 and 5, it means the mean scores have to fall somewhere between 1 and 5 as well. All right, so the one thing I just wanted to draw to your attention here is that the way Excel imported the data, it added a bunch of lines of extra people. So you can actually just delete these. So 97 through 51, you can just right click and clear those people because they're not actually in the data set. So the number of people that should be in it are right here, 50. Okay, and then the last thing we want to do is sort the students' grades from highest to lowest. So that was our final grade. We'll go with the one, again, that had everyone in it. And so I'm going to sort it from descending. So it's going to make it go high to low. And I see that the highest student had a 19 and that the lowest student had a 7 on 20. Okay, so that kind of marks all of this part. And then the questions. So we want to know the total motivation score for participant 45. So this is that represents their mean score. And I realized that by putting the word total there, that was kind of mean of me. So if you did create this variable and added them up, you would have a score out of 20, and that's also fine. But essentially, looking for participants, so I'm just going to sort back by participant ID again, so it's easier to find our friends. But we wanted to know, okay, so which participant, so 45, what was their score? All right. So their motivation score was 4.75. So which students are currently failing? We have student 49, student 42, student 30 and 32, and then 8 and 10. Okay, so if you wanted to find those easier, again, you could just sort by that variable and it'll lump all the people together. Please report the grade for participants 15 and 33. So 15 had a 12 on 20, and 33 had also had a 12 on 20. And then finally, which student had the highest grade in the course? So we saw it was a student with a 19. So probably easiest thing again would just be to sort by this again. So who had that 19? So it was participant 23. All right, so that's essentially how you import the data into SPSS and how you complete the first lab assignment. So if there's anything else, let me know.